Welcome to another session of Honest Talk About Women, where you'll learn tips, tricks and strategies on how to navigate the minefields of dating and relationships. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and also comment in the comment section. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you've got a story you want to share with viewers, you can contact me on my email address listed below. Okay, let's get right into it. So I have a software engineer friend. He's been a good mate of mine for about 20 years. He's an entrepreneur, hard worker, frugal, has his own business. Working extremely hard, and I'm not too sure how successful his business is, but he's working long hours, he's coordinating a lot of people, has a big payroll to meet. But he invited me around to his house the other day, to his newly renovated house, and you just don't know how quite well some people are doing financially. So went around to the house, and it was a beautiful house. He's done a great job, and he's hired a lot of contractors. He project managed it himself. He's a bit of a shrewd cookie, and he showed me around the house, and we started off going into his the master bedroom with his new ensuite, built-in shower, clawfoot bath, beautiful slab of granite for the basins. And what started to strike me is I started to go through his house was an array of shoes, and it wasn't his shoes, it was female shoes, and they're all high-end. So he married his university sweetheart. They both met on campus, and he's been married for 20 years, and there was a lot of shoes. I thought, yep, no shoes. Most women love their shoes, and the shoes are fine. So as we go through the house, we went into the guest room next. And what was in the guest room? There were more shoes, even more shoes. And they were high-end shoes, not cheap. So then we went through the other rooms and went into the garage. And what was in the garage? There was even more shoes. And I said two words to him, Mrs. Marcos. And he smiled. And for those that are not familiar with Mrs. Marcos, she was the former First Lady of the Philippines from the mid-60s to the mid-80s. And her and her husband hold the Guinness World Record for the greatest robbery of government. So basically they ran the Philippines as a private company, not a country, a private company. And they just absolutely swindled the Treasury Department and made lavish purchases and also expenditure on palaces, and this is appalling, because the money should have been redirected to more schools, more hospitals, more infrastructure, because the Philippines badly needs that. If you've ever been to the Philippines, it's a lovely country, but there's a hell of a lot of work to be done to make it a first world country, especially in terms of infrastructure. So Mrs. Marcos, back in the late 80s, held the record for the most pairs of shoes. They came across, she had 3,000 pairs of shoes. That's right, 3,000 pairs of shoes. And it was estimated that her and her husband swindled the Philippines, the Filipino people, out of about 5 to 7 billion US dollars. And it was one of the biggest swindles at the time. And it's just in a casebook example of a poorly run country. It has some lovely natural assets, the Philippines, lovely beauty and nature, but got totally ruined by a very corrupt president and his wife. So getting back, so on Wikipedia they have an article on Mrs. Marcos, and she's quite old now. She did serve some time in prison, but a very corrupt lady, and thought she was entitled to the money of the Philippines, of the Treasury Department, and swindled the Treasury out of billions of dollars. And she has no regrets about what she did and thought she was entitled to it. So it's quite a sad story. But getting back to my friend, his wife reminded me of Mrs. Marcos with the pairs of shoes. So this house that they've just renovated, it's an old Californian bungalow, and they've renovated it, and it's got shoes everywhere, high-end women's shoes. And I estimated roughly there'd be at least 200 pairs of shoes. So it's a hell of a sight less than Mrs. Marcos's 3,000 pairs of shoes. But even at 200 pairs of shoes, and these are top end shoes, so maybe 200 US per pair, you're looking at 40,000 US. And if the wife spends that sort of money on shoes, then she'll be the same elsewhere with her money on other facets of her life. And I talked to my friend and asked him, how are things going relationship wise? We all have our ups and downs, as I know. I've been married and divorced twice. So, and I caught him in a bit of a soul searching mood, and he said, it's been tough, Scott. It's been tough. And I know exactly where he's coming from. He's a guy that's working incredibly hard. He's trying to build a business. He's wearing many different hats, and he's got a wife who's not working and is spending a lot of money. And I'm not saying all women are like this. There's a lot of hardworking, independent, financially secure women out there, but this woman is not working, and she's spending a lot of money. And I didn't want to go into the finances because it's personal, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's spending close to $1 for every dollar he's bringing in. So for every discretionary dollar that he has coming in after all expenses is paid, I guarantee you his wife would be spending that or more. So a lot of couples out there, I know they appear very flash on the outside, but a lot of it is financed by the bank, and a lot of them have a lot of debt. And the technique is not to spend money like a drunken sailor as you go through life, because as you go towards the last 1/3 of your life, it can become harder to make money, and you need to put that money away. You're not as cognitively sharp as you were in your 20s and 30s and 40s, and you're in the last 1/3 of your life, and to start over again or to try and make money in the last 1/3, it can be a lot harder when you don't have the cognitive abilities as you had, or the energy levels that you had when you're a younger guy. So I'll leave it at that. It reminded me of Mrs. Marcos, the swindler of the Philippines in the mid-60s, the mid-80s, who had a very extravagant lifestyle and had 3,000 pairs of shoes. And going into someone's house speaks volumes. You can just work out straight away who's good, who's not good with money, how they've decorated their place. Do they go cheap end, budget, IKEA, or do they go top end? So it's really important that a woman and also a guy has a good relationship with money. And it's something that's not taught in schools. It's something that you learn as you go along. So good luck out there, guys. That's it for today. Don't forget to purchase my book on alpha dating. It has some great tips on how to navigate the minefields of dating and relationships. You can get it in your inbox within seconds through Amazon Kindle. So do purchase it. It has many tricks and tips that you need to learn. And also don't forget to hit the like button. Until next time, take care.